Welcome back, everybody. Before we get started, we're going to take this battery outside, put it on the buck converter with 300 watts of panels, and we're going to put some sun juice in it before we start this test. Alright, so we're charging. Alright, so anytime you're hooking up one of these batteries, you got here, connect to positive. Alright, anytime you connect one up, because these batteries can give such a high inrush current, you need to fill the capacitors that are the intake side of the inverter. So with any type of resistor, this is just happens to be a 100 watt 2 ohm resistor, but any resistor would work. Even a little tiny quarter watt resistor just would take a couple seconds longer. So connect it on one end here, one end here. You leave it on there for just a second. Make sure you got good contact, then go directly to 29 volts, ready to go. So I'm going to use this today to power a few things and play around. Alright, so we're going to turn the fan back on, and I'm going to check the amperage coming from the battery. So we're going to go straight to high, see what happens. So we have the surge, drops it down to 27, and it starts coming back up as it gets up to speed. Alright, and it leveled off. Alright, we'll zero this out. Alright, so 11 amps. Beautiful day outside. Let's see what we got here on the grid tie. 227 watts coming from two 200 watt panels, so 400 watts. Making some power on the little inverter. We built this battery yesterday, and right now I'm going to do a capacity test. It started out at 29.2 voltage is where we started out on the battery. So we're using, it's 210 watts, and we're going to see how long it takes to pull it out. I believe these batteries are 1 kilowatt hour, so we'll see. So we're almost at the 0.4 kilowatt hours. The cell checker, 3.59, 3.57 per cell, 25 volts. I believe there's a pretty big drag on this load, even at 200 watts. It's it's almost a whole volt drop down. All right, let's see what kind of amps are being pulled here. 8 amps. So 8 amps at 25 volts, 200 watts. Just barely, you can barely tell that there's something going on inside. It's a little warm. So we'll leave it there. Still got the time lapse going. Let's check out the voltage here on the cell checker. Down to 3.2.5 volts. We have a 40 millivolt difference. We're just under 23 volts. So let's see where we're at on the kilowatt meter. So we're down to 200 watts. We're at 3/4 of a kilowatt so far. So 0.7 kilowatts. And this says we're at 22 volts, but we know that we're at, what was it, just under 23 volts. You see, once it starts getting down to 22 volts, it starts to drop off pretty quickly. Alright, so all done with voltage, came back up to 22.8. Not bad. So we'll have to do some looking back on the camera and see where it finished up at. Alright, so we were able to get 0.8 of a kilowatt hour out of there at a 0.22 C rating. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm happy with that, especially since I don't think the battery was charged all the way to the very top. But hey, maybe we can try it again, charge it all the way up. Alright, so we're going to use the buck converter to charge this battery back up after our test using the 300 watt panels. Alright, so we're going to set this buck converter to 30 volts due to the not very good isolation through the circuit. And now we're at 2.4 amps going into the battery to this buck converter. Alright, so we're using the sun to power charge this one back up. Using those 3 100-watt panels over there, ran in series together, so 300 watts. We're getting pretty good sun today. It's a beautiful sky. What's that? 3.8 amps is what's going into the battery.